In the name of Allah. Alright everyone, let's continue our lecture on synchronous generators. In this part, we're going to focus on the factors that affect the physical size of synchronous generators. This is a very important topic, especially when we talk about large power generation stations like thermal power plants and hydroelectric stations. Why is this important? Because the size of the generator is not just a mechanical issue. It is directly connected to efficiency, losses, and cooling. As generators become larger and their power rating increases, their efficiency improves, which is a big advantage in large stations since it leads to huge fuel savings. At the same time, increasing the generator rating changes its size and power density, and this creates thermal challenges. So, we cannot talk about generator size without also talking about how efficiently heat is removed from the machine. So, throughout this section, keep in mind that there is a strong relationship between generator size, efficiency, and cooling methods. And understanding this relationship is essential for proper generator design and operation in modern power systems. Now let's talk about generator rating and efficiency, because this is one of the most important ideas in large-scale power generation. In general, the higher the rated power of a synchronous generator, the higher its efficiency. Small generators lose a noticeable portion of their input energy, but as we move to larger machines, those losses become relatively smaller compared to the output power. To give you a practical sense of this, a synchronous generator rated at around 10 megawatts typically operates with an efficiency close to 90%. When we scale up to very large units, say 1000 megawatts, the efficiency can reach about 99%. That difference may look small on paper, but in real power stations, it is massive. Why does this matter? Because higher efficiency means less fuel is wasted. In large generating stations, even a 1% improvement in efficiency can save enormous amounts of fuel over time. That's why utilities always prefer operating large, high-efficiency generators whenever possible. Now let's move on to power density and generator size. When we deal with large synchronous generators, we're not just increasing the power rating, we're also improving what we call power density, which simply means how much power we get per kilogram of the machine. As the generator size and rating increase, this value goes up. What does that mean in practical terms? It means that large generators are designed to deliver more power without becoming proportionally heavier or bulkier. In other words, you get more output from a relatively compact machine. This is a big advantage in power stations. A higher power density allows engineers to install very high capacity generators without occupying excessive space, which reduces construction costs and simplifies the overall layout of the plant. Alright, now let's look at the thermal side of the problem, because this is where things start to get serious in large generators. As the generator rating increases, the machine produces more total losses, mainly electrical and magnetic losses, and all of that loss energy turns into heat. At the same time, modern generator designs aim to be more compact, so the available surface area for heat to escape doesn't increase at the same rate. So we end up with a situation where more heat is being generated, but it has fewer paths to leave the machine. If this heat is not removed efficiently, temperatures rise, insulation degrades, and reliability is affected. That's why, for large synchronous generators, cooling is not an optional feature. It's a core part of the design. Proper cooling ensures stable operation, long insulation life, and safe continuous operation under high load conditions. Now let's talk about how we cool synchronous generators, because the cooling method really depends on the generator rating. For small to medium units, up to about 25 megawatts, the solution is simple. We use forced air cooling, where cold air is pushed through the generator. At this power level, air is perfectly capable of carrying away the heat without any complications. As we move to larger generators, roughly in the range of 50 to 300 megawatts, air is no longer enough. Here, we switch to hydrogen cooling. Hydrogen has a much higher thermal conductivity than air, so it can remove heat much more effectively while keeping losses and temperatures under control. When we reach very large generators, in the range of 1000 to 1500 megawatts, even hydrogen cooling reaches its limits. In these machines, the stator conductors themselves are designed as hollow copper conductors, and cooling water flows directly through them. This direct water cooling combined with advanced insulating and structural materials, allows these massive generators to operate safely and efficiently under extreme power levels. All right, now let's see how speed changes the picture when it comes to generator size and cooling. First, think about slow-speed synchronous generators. These machines are usually larger in physical size compared to high-speed generators with the same power rating. That larger size actually works in our favor because it gives us more surface area for heat to escape. As a result, cooling becomes easier, and in many cases we can rely on air cooling, supported by heat exchangers that push ambient air through the generator body. Now compare that with high-speed generators. These machines are much more compact, which is great for saving space, but thermally it's more challenging. The smaller size means less surface area, so heat builds up more quickly. That's why high-speed generators usually require more advanced cooling methods, such as hydrogen cooling or even direct water cooling. So the key idea here is this: speed affects size and size affects cooling. Slow-speed machines are bigger but easier to cool, while high-speed machines are compact and efficient, but they demand much more careful thermal design. Let's make all of this more concrete with a real practical example, because this is where the ideas really come together. Imagine a 500 megawatt synchronous generator in a hydroelectric power plant. This machine operates at low speed, so it's physically large. Because of that large size and generous surface area, air cooling is sufficient to remove the heat, especially when supported by proper airflow and heat exchangers. Now take another generator with the same power rating, 500 megawatts, but running at high speed, around 1800 revolutions per minute, in a thermal power plant. Even though the power is the same, this generator is much more compact. As a result, air cooling is no longer enough, and hydrogen cooling becomes necessary to handle the higher thermal stress. So the takeaway is simple. Generator design is not based on power rating alone. Engineers must consider operating speed, machine size, and cooling requirements together to ensure safe, efficient, and reliable operation. All right, let's wrap everything up and connect the dots. The size of a synchronous generator is not chosen randomly. It's the result of several interacting factors. The rated power sets the basic scale of the machine, while power density determines how much output we can squeeze into that size. As power increases, thermal losses become more significant, and that immediately brings cooling requirements into the picture. On top of that, the operating speed of the generator strongly affects both its physical dimensions and how easily it can be cooled. In modern generator design, engineers are always trying to strike the right balance. The goal is to achieve high efficiency, maintain reliable long-term operation, and ensure effective thermal management under all operating conditions. When these factors are properly coordinated, the result is a generator that performs efficiently, runs safely, and meets the demanding needs of large power generation systems. Thank you for your attention. See you in the next lecture.